Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hey everybody, we are going to do this quick. I know I say that a lot and then it ends up going almost an hour. But this one in particular, I do have it as a topic that I want to cover, and I want to cover it in a way that hopefully shows you folks how cool it is and how important it is to the company I work for. But I am swamped. I have got a ton going on right now. So this is probably going to be a pretty short episode, just FYI. Weekend Bryan, let's jump into it. Painting. So I have been painting some of my Necromunda guys. As I mentioned in last week's episode, we're kind of kicking off a new Necromunda campaign with me and my friends. And while I'm waiting for my wonderful Spirers to arrive, I'm bringing out the old Paladite Enforcers, getting out the cops. And I realized that there was a handful of models that I built for my Paladites that never saw paint. So trying to stay in that mode of giving myself at least one figure a week to keep my brush skills going, and so I don't end up running into that whole thing that happened several months ago where I just didn't paint forever. So trying to get at least one model done a week, and I think I've gotten 2 or 3 on my Paladites. So happy there. Gaming wise, I got to play in my wife's Land of Monsters game, her D&D game. I think we're about not to the end of this arc by any stretch, but we're last session we ran into a lot of questions and a lot of confusion. We're starting to put the pieces together. We're starting to solve some of the mystery in this instance. It's opening up some other questions, and I think that we may have thrown her for a little bit of a loop on a few of the things that we decided to do. But she is taking some of it in stride and adapting as necessary. She is definitely learning. As a relatively new DM, she is learning that no narrative survives contact with the players untouched. So I think that she's figuring that out. But we're having a good time, and that is what is important. I think that's all the gaming, apart from playing video games. Woo, video games. Speaking of which, Hypercharge. So it is an indie game that I think it's number 5 or 6 on Xbox Live and PlayStation in the US right now. It's a lot of fun. It's tons of fun. If you are an Xbox player, actually I guess if you're on any platform, you should totally check it out and support these guys. It's a tiny little company out of the UK, and they really are putting their heart and soul into this. They all of their DLC, all of their anything that you can pay money to get is purely cosmetic. It has nothing to do with the gameplay. You unlock cool stuff for gameplay over the course of playing, but you can't just go in and drop $20 and go, aha, I've got the coolest gun. And when they put that DLC out, they keep putting a little reminders on there we do not believe in pay to win. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. I got to play with my kid the other day. I'm kind of hoping that a couple of my other friends will pick it up so we can get maybe a 4-player game going at some point, because that would be a ton of fun, because I'm having a good time. Also playing a lot of Payday 3, as always. And some Baldur's Gate 3 with my wife. So a lot of video games, oddly enough. Played a board card game? I don't know. It's a tabletop game with our friends earlier this week. We played, That's What She Said, which is basically like a Cards Against Humanity skin where you use a bunch of innuendo phrases and things. And then we played Say Anything. That's an older game, a little Pictionary-esque. You have a little dry erase board, and you're trying to guess what your friends at the table would think. It was a lot of fun. I think we had a good time. Part of it was the power went out in the house for several hours, so we were like, all right, well, what are we gonna do? It got to the point where we had to get out one of the battery-operated camping lanterns to be able to see the cards we were playing. But we had a good time. Everything was great. So I guess I have been playing a lot of stuff, just not like, role-playing games and stuff like that. Personal's fine. Everybody's doing okay. Connor said to me the other day that it doesn't feel like he's having much of a summer. Because he's got summer classes. He had like basically a week off and then immediately went into summer classes. But we're hoping that goes relatively quickly, so he can get a little bit of summer before he has to go back to school. I remember, my summer vacations and things, and I wish we could do more with the kiddos, but I am very proud of him that he's getting stuff checked off his list, doing the things that he thinks he needs to get done, and not just falling into, teenager blah. I'm proud of the kid. He's doing a great job. Going to the gym, trying to do my best. I think I'm doing better. I feel better. My back still hurts quite a bit when I wake up in the morning, but I think if I can shed off a couple of extra pounds, that will hopefully lessen. That's what happened last time, and I have noticed that I am not hurting as long when I wake up, if that makes any sense. It used to be a good hour of me kind of limping around the house. Now it's 5 minutes, maybe 10. Unless I twisted a weird, funny way or something. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm doing the right thing, in the right direction. Work stuff. Okay. So I mentioned I've been swamped. Well, it's because we've been very, very busy. Warzone stuff is we're starting to see things proofs of things. At the end of the month, Alex is going to be heading out to the actual Trenchworks place and get the actual Cytocast minis in hand to look at them and check them out and see the process. And I'm sure he'll have some cool stuff to say when he gets back from that. We've got to do. I did some cool play testing. The Graviton protocol is, I would say, almost completely ready. There might be a little bit of spit and polish needs to go into it, and then we get to send it to the layout guy. I mean, things are starting to come together, and it is phenomenal. It feels great. Not only to finish this, but getting closer. Every step we get just a little bit closer to being able to fulfill and sending that stuff out to the backers and get the people playing and talking and buying if you're into that. But that's what I cannot wait for our Facebook group and the Discord group to just light up with people saying, I got my package, here's this package, check this out, I read this story, I love your take on this. That's the stuff I live for, and we're getting so much closer to it every week that Alex and I get together for our weekly meeting, and we check in with what's going on, and it's rad. It's super cool. I love it, and it feels super good. The Shadowrun, I'm still waiting to hear back from the editor on the Shadowrun to get the next novel up and running. I'm excited to get the next novel up and running because I've got ideas burning a hole in my brain. I talked to a former client of mine earlier this week. It's been probably a good 2 years since we did business, but I had done a bunch of D&D stats for random cards to be inserted into the packaging of fantasy action figures, if that makes any sense. And apparently it went over really well. The stories and the stuff that we attached to those action figures apparently went over really well. And people were really like, I want these, I want more of these. So they reached out to me and they want me to do some more of them. The gentleman who runs that company, he and I had a nice long conversation about some other stuff, maybe for the future. I mean, it's a splash gig. I mean, like, it's not like an ongoing thing, or it's going to last, months or whatever. But it is. I think it'll be fun. I am also wrapping up / neck deep in an Essence 20 adventure that I cannot talk about because I'm sure our dear friends over at Renegade are probably going to have a reveal at some point. But it's nice to get to work with those guys again. I miss those folks. But also to dip my toes back into the old Essence 20 rule set and stuff. It's been a good couple of years since it's been at least over a year since I've had to do any of that, almost 2. And I love the system that we made, obviously. But I like seeing where it has gone since I left, to see some of the stuff that they've been doing and the refining that they've been doing and some of the additional rules they've been adding, and it's cool. I'm very I'm glad that one of my children, i.e. Essence 20, is in really good hands and is still thriving. It's super fun to see. And then Evil Genius. Evil Genius, we are, oh my god, it feels so good to be putting so many things to bed. We've had so many irons in the fire lately that it sometimes feels overwhelming. But we're starting to get to the point where it's like, all right, this is done. Legendary has signed off on it. This is done. We're just waiting for layout. Oh, wait, the artists are starting to send in their stuff. I mean, like, it's getting the machine moving again and starting to see the final results of stuff and hearing from, in this case, like Legendary, for that comes like Kong and Pac-Ram, hearing from that studio that, not only did they, give us the okay for the manuscripts that we were working on, that they accept them, but getting a couple of notes that they were like, this is really cool. That's awesome. Hearing from the people who actually make that universe, reading our stuff, making sure that it fits within canon and stuff, but then also going, this is cool, we like this. It means a lot. It really, really does, especially when you do run into the occasional naysayer that's like, oh, this shouldn't happen. Oh, this is not a fun scene. Oh, this isn't something that, gamers care about. It is very vindicating to hear the people who actually create the license go, that's rad and I like it. So I'm over the moon. In the last 2 weeks, I've gotten four Hollywood licensed manuscripts, basically thumbs up, as in they like what they see, make a couple of changes here and there, and then boom, it's ready to rock and roll. And got a new pitch for a new product greenlit. So I mean, like, it's and there's another one that they're looking at. They have to work out some legality stuff first, but things are starting to come together. Add in the fact that the E.G.O program, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, is starting to hit its stride as far as like getting those products out the door. And then my current big baby, the thing that has been taking up a lot of my mental power and a lot of my time, is Intergalactic Heroes. And when I say that I'm almost ready to send the beta manuscript to our lead Everyday Heroes designer to verify, to make sure that the language that I used was right, and that nothing looks completely and utterly whacking out of place. basically to get another set of eyes, another set of rules designers and developers to look at it. I'm like, it is possible, it's not likely because I got so much to do, but it is possible that by the time this video comes out, I might be sending that email to my rules guys at Evil Genius. Like, when I say I'm close, I mean this project is really close to moving into the next stage. And makes me super happy because I know it's a hell of a product. I know I know people are going to love it. And I am very much looking forward to getting into the kinds of discussions that I used to get into about like War Machine and you know, just the other universes. When I worked for Babylon 5, you know, getting to talk about the philosophy of the Pakmara, you know, and why do they sing, you know, like just that kind of stuff. I love that aspect of my career. And I know that I'm getting closer to another big chunk of that. So, yay, yay, yay. Happy, happy Bryan when it comes to Intergalactic Heroes. Not to mention I get to start running beta games. I know that I've got 2 games. Well, when we get a little closer to GameholeCon, I'll actually tell... When we get closer to them, the people who go to GameholeCon getting to talk about events... That makes sense. I think you'll start signing up when it gets closer to signing up events. I'll do an episode to talk specifically about the events that I'm running to try and get people to sign up, because I do know that there's at least 2 Intergalactic Heroes beta games that are going to happen. One of which is a little tongue-in-cheek, but still going to be a ton of fun. All right, so. That's, you know, the week in Bryan. Only 17 minutes. Still longer than I thought. I wanted to talk about... So we are 2 weeks out from Origins. The Origins Game Expo or Game Fair Organic. I don't I don't know where I'm going with this. We've always called it Origins. It's in Columbus, Ohio. It is on June, I think, 19th through the 22nd, I think. But basically, it's 2 weeks from now. And while I'm not going with Evil Genius, I'm actually going to support my business partner at Warzone. I will still be doing a bunch of stuff with Evil Genius because I love my Evil Genius folks, and I gotta help them out. But we have a bunch of really, really cool things happening at Origins, and likely every convention that we go to as Evil Genius from here on out, plus a lot of conventions that we aren't going to. We're going to have people that are running these events, and that is the E.G.O program. You clicked on the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. So the E.G.O program stands for the Evil Genius Organized Play program. And it is a way to play everyday heroes with your character, similar to things like the D&D Adventure League, Shadowrun Missions, Pathfinder Society, those where you take your character and you get to basically play through a length of story, getting bonuses to your character, leveling up and such as you go along, but you become part of the story. And you can take your character to official events like Origins, GenCon, and so forth. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give basically a quick overview of what E.G.O means to you as a player. Like what you get to be a part of, what you can create. So the way it works is you make a character. You actually get on our app. I will put it's called Dispatch. We'll put the Dispatch app address in the the description of this video. Where you click on it, you basically sign up. It doesn't cost you any money; it's a free app or whatever. But you get to put your character in the system. You can say, "Hey, here is my Everyday Heroes character that I'm building." You start a level 1 character, and what you're doing is you're creating a character who works for a secret organization known as Redemption. And redemption somehow knows people in everyday life, whether it's a cop or a race car driver or a social media influencer or a chef or whatever, or a LARPer, like it's you basically take the concept of everyday heroes is that it's a human being, a person that has discovered in them the ability to be the protagonist of a story, of an action movie, of an adventure film, of a mystery, you basically become the star of the show. And just like any other role-playing game, you've got special powers that nobody else can do. You've got things that other people might not have access to, and these are the things that you do as an everyday hero. Well, in the E.G.O program, you are playing one of these characters, and Redemption has found you. Redemption knew how to find you, how to look for you, and knew that you would have that moment of dun 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 to make you something special and become an agent of redemption, which is this clandestine organization. They basically help make the world a better place through various different ideas and sometimes very weird go do this thing at this exact time because think of it like someone's reading a Mayan calendar that nobody knows what those numbers all mean, but I gotta do the thing at this time, otherwise all is lost. And it's they've obviously got they've got bad guys they fight against, individual storylines, and the progression of E.G.O, the season 1, as we call it, there's 2 types of adventures you get to play. There are plots. Plots are little short-term, maybe 1-2 hour repeatable adventures. They tend to be really fast, very easy. A couple of scenes. It's kind of to get you into the zone, and maybe give you a little bit of maybe a resource or maybe a piece of equipment or something that could help you with the larger adventures, which we call assignments, because these are redemption is sending you on your assignments. And the assignments are longer adventures, probably between 4 to 5 hours. I will say 3 to 5, depending on how fast or slow you might play. And these are your more standard. There's probably going to be multiple scenes. There's going to be an overarching story. You're going to meet some NPCs. These are going to be the actual meat and potatoes of the redemption story arc. And you get to take your character through these, and your character will learn things and gain access to things and gain cool bonuses and all this kind of stuff. Make enemies, learn of things from. You actually, through some of the assignments, you will get to get a glimpse of some of the things to come in future products. Because one of the cool things about this organized play system is that we actually get to design, unlike working with an IP or working with a pitched, here's this adventure and you get to write it 6 months later. This is ours. This is our intellectual property. This is our storyline. This is our world that we're playing in. Meaning that we get to decide what gets added, what gets hinted at, what gets teased or spoiled for future stuff, and you get to be a part of that as a part of the ecosystem. You get to be a part of that story, and part of being part of E.G.O, your character is logged into the dispatch app. It actually tells us. The GM after a game is over, the GM actually gets to pick which kind of things got solved, and we get that data that we get to look at and go, okay, 70% of the people who played through assignment 3 did not save the girl, or did not rescue the kitty out of the tree, or overwhelmingly the car was crashed. Well, it's not all options, obviously. You don't have to go in and write a giant report, but there's a handful of important things that might have, echoes that happen later in the story. If overwhelmingly the people who play the E.G.O program let the mad scientist die, we're obviously not going to bring him back in season 2. Or if we do, maybe it'll be a zombie scientist, or maybe, that he'll be, horribly scarred and burned from where you let him land into the lava. Like whatever the case may be. Obviously, I'm making all this stuff up. These are not spoilers. But that's how we envisioned this organized play system to grow and create. One of my close friends and former colleagues, I guess still a colleague, he's still a colleague. He worked at Evil Genius with me. Michael Bramnick was at the heart of this, the creation of the E.G.O program and this storyline. And I love what the groundwork that he laid and the stuff that he, the plot line, the overarching idea that he helped come up with. And I only hope that we are doing it justice since he has left the company. But to say that he and I and Eric and Dave and everybody involved haven't put their blood, sweat, and tears into this would be a misnomer, to say the least. I want to while I'm talking about this, the whole point of this was to let you know that, so we're running a bunch of E.G.O. Now that I've told you what E.G.O is, we're running a bunch of E.G.O events. There are you can sign up to be a game master. You can actually get the adventures through. I think they're through our website. Once you're a signed up GM, you can get the stuff. Basically, if you become an E.G.O GM, you can get the adventures to run for people at your store. That sort of thing. You log into the dispatch app. You set up your event. You get credit for the event. You get bonuses to do stuff later, like real life stuff. It's just a really cool way of getting Everyday Heroes in a different form out there for people to play, and for the people who are already playing to let them build a character that is part of a greater world and a greater universe. And the concept is basically you go through 9 assignments, and as many plots as you want. There are 9 assignments in a season, and then at the end of the season we have a big special event planned. And hopefully you will have played through the season, so you know all the little beats, but you don't have to. Obviously, if you miss an assignment, someone will fill you in on what happened. But going into this convention season, we have so at Origins we've got a bunch of a handful of plots, and a bunch of our assignments are going to be there. So you could get a character made, or play with a pre-gen if you want. We will have pre-generated characters available. But if you build your own character, you build your E.G.O character, you get him logged into the dispatch app, you can take that character to all of these events and get experience, get equipment, get this stuff added to your character logged in. Because at GenCon, we also will be running a bunch of the stuff. We'll actually be running everything in at least one session of the entire season, because we wanted to give new players the opportunity, if they really wanted to be like, all right, I need to hammer out this stuff, they could build a character, bring it to GenCon, and play the whole season. And then actually on that Saturday night, we will have our super cool season finale special event. More details on that in the future, but it is very cool. Not to be like, I'm awesome, but it's really cool. And then of course that leads us into the future of E.G.O. Those characters. It's not like your character stops being functioning, or you get to the season finale and you're done, because season 2 will happen sometime next year. This is an ongoing thing, and our concept here, just like TV shows, just like movies that have sequels, is the story will continue. You may bring new characters in, you might have old characters. That's completely up to you. But what you can do is be a part of this, and be a part of the story, and play through these interesting missions that you have to go on to eventually kind of solve the riddle that is, what is redemption? What are they actually trying to do or stop? Who are the bad guys? Who are the antagonists in this, and what are they trying to do? Why do we have to stop them? And where does this lead when it comes to the overall, intellectual property of everyday heroes, and frankly, everyday Arcana and intergalactic heroes, as those products become available, will probably have their own chapters in the greater storyline. It is very cool, and while I've played in a lot of organized play stuff, like some Adventure League, and definitely some Shadowrun missions, this is the first time that I've ever been kind of at the ground floor of building them, and I'm having a blast because it's a fun world that we're creating. It's it's like leaning into an action movie or an adventure flick or a horror show. I've always been a cinematic writer. I've always been somebody who wants to lean into the story. It's not just all about grinding, killing the bad guys and moving on to the next big fight. And getting to do crazy things with some of these storylines. Because it is also a little tongue-in-cheek, just like some of the action movies of the 80s, you've got, or heck, some of the Venture Brothers, Archer, you've got examples of comedy, action, adventure that still is entertaining and still would be a lot of fun to be a part of. It's not all, squeaky toys and goofiness, but you will occasionally fight, maybe a robot pirate, or, you might have to take a trip to the moon. These are things that your characters might end up having to do with because you're part of this super exaggerated, clandestine organization that is saving the day again and again and again. And I'm just really excited to see these adventures come together. I'm excited to see the kinds of characters that we get. Because, the pre-generated characters are cool, and they're fun to play if you're just, playing a one-off. But what I want to see is people that come to these things and say, hey, here's my E.G.O character. My E.G.O character is this guy with this background, with this profession, with this thing, and I fight with a frying pan, or whatever. I want to see some of those interesting and unique characters that are being played out in the universe in our intellectual property. I want to see those come to life. I want to see who I have always made the joke, and anybody who's in this industry, they understand the joke, is the quote unquote, please don't tell me about your character. That comes from years of standing in a booth and people, not talking to you about their D&D character for hours on end, and occasionally sometimes it gets a little heavy, a little, okay, yes your character's awesome, let's move on to the next topic. I am suspending that when it comes to E.G.O. I want to see and I want to hear more about the characters that are being played out there. I want to hear how people handled plot point B in assignment 2. When assignment 6 comes out, I want to see the shock on people's faces when they go, I didn't know that was going to happen. That's the stuff that I want. And I think that the E.G.O program is really going to give that to us. But it does mean that we need your support and your help. That sounded a lot like a crowdfunding ask. It's not. If you're going to Origins, you're going to GenCon, and later on you go to PAX Unplugged and things, if you see an E.G.O game and you've got a slot, give it a shot. Get a character made, or sit in with a pre-generated character and tweak it and stuff to make it your own. But give it a shot. See what you can come up with. And if you're a GM, if you're an Everyday Heroes, or if you're just a game master and you like Everyday Heroes, or you like the concept of Everyday Heroes, or you like the concept of the E.G.O program, sign up on the Dispatch app. Get in touch with us. Jump on the Discord. Let's get you signed up and get you the materials you need to start running for your local folks, for running your stores, because it's not going to cost you anything, and it's going to just make everything cooler for everybody involved. I know down the road when I've got a little more free time, I'm going to start running E.G.O stuff for one of my local groups. I've got too many games going on right now, some of which are playtest. But I know that that's something that I want to do. One of the conventions that I go to just to play games, next year, I'm probably going to try and run a handful of E.G.O assignments and see if I can't, because that particular convention is very heavy with people who are into organized play. So if I can get a handful of those to play a few of our assignments, that'd be awesome. It'd make me it would instill in people that kind of joy with a different kind of game instead of always playing D&D and fantasy games or Shadowrun. For organized play, this is, you get to, let's make you an action hero. Let's make you a super spy. Let's make you a LARPer with a heart of gold. I don't know, whatever it needs to be. But if you're going to Origins, this is last time I'll say it. If you're going to Origins, because that's right around the corner, check out the I know we still have some slots available for some of the E.G.O assignments and plots. Plots will take you almost no time at all. Assignments will just get you in. And you know what? If you need if you need help getting a character made, hit me up. I mean it. Hit me up. Hit me up on Facebook. Maybe we can Zoom together and I'll help you get an E.G.O character made. But I think that you'll have a great time. Whether you use a pre-gen or start building your own character to get geared up for the awesome stuff that's happening at GenCon. Whatever the case may be, it is absolutely worth your time if you enjoy fun, narratively driven, but still kind of crunchy modern role-playing. Until then, I'm going to get going because I've got a ton to do, as I mentioned earlier. Please be safe. Get your shots. Wear a mask if you have to. Wash your hands. Take a shower. All the things you need to do. Don't lick doorknobs. And you just try and leave every place that you go just a little bit happier than when you got there. And I think, collectively we'll all be in a better place. So have fun. I'll see you in a week. With a really cool unboxing, by the way. I got the shipping information earlier today. So cool unboxing next week. Show you some cool stuff from one of my sponsors. And play some games.